Skipper sent Kamansky looking for you.
About what?
My co-pilot, Larry. They don't think he's going to make it.
Is that what it's about?
No. The colonel wants to go over your report again. He thought it was kind of vague. I told him you probably reported everything you could possibly remember.
Well, I told him all the facts, Lieutenant, without naming names. See, I don't want to get involved in the inquiry.
Dern, I wouldn't want you to tell a lie or anything like that.
You just don't want me to remember anything more.
I'll make it up to you, I promise.
You know, if that co-pilot dies, sir, there won't be anybody left but you and me. Your word and my word. And they take an officer's word. And I take an officer's promise. And I'll conduct one of my own, informally. You're going to keep yourself pretty busy if you do this every time an airplane cracks up. Not every time, Joe, just this time. I'm buttressing my defenses. I don't understand. What do you mean? I don't have your high IQ, Joe. I work like a dog for this eagle on my shoulder. And I don't have your drag at the Pentagon or with General Britt. Every complaint you address to me is another termite gnawing at my record. What's wrong with you, Ken? What are you really talking about? I will not have that mishap on takeoff interpreted as a failure on my part to supply you as requested. Let's you and I get something straight. I'm not trying to make you look bad. But suppose you find out it is a G4 failure. Then I want to admit it before I'm accused. All right? Now let me ask you something. You've half accused my maintenance group of dogging it. Did you come here to try to prove that? I did not. All I want is the truth about that crack-up. Now, shall we? Okay. Major Stovall.
Yes, sir.
You sent in Sergeant Chapman and the Jones boys?
Yes, sir. I'll get you in for a minute first.
No, go ahead. Check the serial numbers. If we can prove that these guns were stolen from this base, that'll narrow it down a lot.
All right, gentlemen, let's go.
Reporting is ordered, sir. At ease. Gentlemen, Colonel Hunter here would like to ask you a few questions. Colonel, this is Lieutenant Jones, pilot of the 376. Sergeant Chapman, flight engineer. Sergeant Jones, crew chief. I've been over your statements about the crash. Conclusion is being drawn that the airplane or its maintenance failed. Now, of course, analysis of the wreckage will help us there. That is to prove or disprove. I read in the report that the pilot and the co-pilot were fighting to maintain control of the airplane. Now, what I want to know is, fighting to control what?
Sir, I don't remember.
Lieutenant, you and Sergeant Chapman are the only two who can really help us now. See, your co-pilot died. So any recollection you may have could be very important. You see, J.D., I think what we're trying to get at here is a possibility of human error. Of course, that possibility always exists in a mishap like this, even with the best of pilots.
Sir, no. If you're trying to make it easier for me to back out...
With the Colonel's permission, sir. Go ahead.
Well, I don't like to do this, sir. I mean, the way it turned out and all. But I was a co-pilot. You know, see, my skipper's a little rough on takeoff sometimes. Well, the co-pilot, I guess we didn't know how nervous he was. Well, he went off his rocker. He grabbed the yoke and pulled back, and we yelled at him. The skipper fought him, but it was too late. He crashed. I guess with him being hurt so badly, well, the skipper figured it wouldn't do any harm to cover for him. I'm sorry, sir.
Lieutenant?
Yes, sir, that's about it. Hello, Lieutenant.
Burt?
Stove's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Well,
What was it you wanted to see me about?
well, about that promise you made me.
Yeah, I didn't expect things to turn out quite like they did.
Maybe we shouldn't have said those things about Larry. What there is to make, he's dead, isn't he? You're in the clear. Now you can make it up to me.
Yeah, I do want to thank you.
Thank me. Well, that'll be easy. See, I may need a reason for leaving the base this afternoon. In other words, Lieutenant, I may have to have an alibi. Sir.
Were you AWOL?
That's about it. See, I had to go to town. Meet you. And then we went to the Archbury Church. To pray for the bombardier and the co-pilot. That's what you tell them. They ask you. They may not.
Dern, I'm in the clear now. I don't want to get involved in anything.
You don't want to get involved. Why do you think I didn't spill everything about the cracker? Because I don't want to get involved in anything. Inquiries, anything. I get pushed in a corner, mister. I'm gonna talk.
All right, now what's this all about?
What are you doing here, Frank?
You can call it anything you like. Now, what does he mean when he says that he will talk? What'd you guys do, lie about the crank-up?
Don't you butt out, Frank. You're gonna nose into something you're not gonna
Yeah,
like.
it's no big hassle,
Wait a second,
Frank.
you shut up. Wait a second now. You've never been a wheeler-dealer, Jake. Don't look at me like that. You've never been a wheeler-dealer, and
Come
you've
on,
never been
Frank.
smart enough to cover up
Come
a bunch
on,
of lies.
what is
Just shut up. So you can't start now. Now, now, wait a second. It's just like falling out of swing. The only place you got to go is down, J.D. Don't you know that?
Let him mother you forever.
Yeah, it's my life, Frank.
Look, why don't you get out of here?
Or what?
Just get out.
Or what?
Get out. That's what I mean. Get out.
All right, Frank. All right. We were all restricted to the space last night, everybody. But baby brother there, he went AWOL. He went to town to find his nerve. He's not a bad pilot. It's just that combat scares the pie out of him. And I think you knew he was AWOL. If I need another witness, I got one. A nurse. See, she snuck him back on the base last night. They had a date. He didn't have any sleep. He was in no condition to fly. He should have been reported. It wouldn't have been so bad for him, but he did. And if I talk, mister, we all talk. It's a court-martial. The worst kind. Because he killed 2 people. You got a lot more to lose than I do, Lieutenant. So you better keep your promise.
Okay, Frank. Thanks a lot.
Why did you have to lie about the accident?
I didn't lie. Look, I didn't remember it before, but Larry Cahill grabbed the yoke. I swear it.
You swear it.
I swear it.
Well, then what does Chapman have to threaten you with like that?
Why, he's in a corner.
What?
Oh, no, wait a minute. Not me. He was threatening you.
lies, and he'll put a noose around my neck, Frank, if you don't just once keep your nose out of my life. You put me here. Do you remember that? You and Dad? You're always saying, make something out of yourself. Why don't you be somebody? Why don't you be a pilot? Okay, I'm a pilot. But I'm not the first one who couldn't sleep the night before. But you, Frank, you never forget that I used to fall out of my swing. You never forget that.
What does Chapman need an alibi for?
Because he was AWOL, like I was.
Well, what does he mean that there'll be no investigation?
Take your hands off me.
Oh, come on,
I'm an
don't go
officer.
rank on me. Gee.
Look, Frank. It was all okay until you butted in, I swear it was. You stand by me, Frank. You owe me that.
No, you were right a minute ago, pal. When you said to let go. That's just what I'm doing, J.D. I'm letting go.
Headquarters, Colonel Gallagher. Joe, I've got a little good news. That is, if you're prepared to admit that we're still friends.
At this point, anyone with good news can be my friend.
Well, number one, everything puts Lieutenant Jones in the clear on that crack-up this morning, and I'm satisfied. Number two, they've just released 2 replacement aircraft to this wing, and I'm giving them both to you.
Are they new?
No, they're not new. They're reclaimed, rebuilt, and almost guaranteed. Is that good enough?
Will I have time for flight checks?
I'll have them ferried over tomorrow morning. That'll give you a day to get them ready.
Right. And thank you, friend and benefactor.
Okay, Joe.
It's a nice smooth turn, Lieutenant. It's just lost one engine.
I guess I get it now, sir. I thought we were testing the aircraft.
We are, but I'm also testing you. I want to be sure what you like in the air before I trust the lives of 9 men to you.
So you're putting your life on the line, huh? What happens if I make a mistake?
But you haven't yet. You'll spend the rest of the day practicing landings and takeoffs with an instructor.
Yes, sir. I think I can improve.
Good. Sergeant, I want you to fly with him. Check out the aircraft. They tell me it was rebuilt after it came back, but let's be sure. Got it back, sir? Yes, they made an emergency landing in a neutral country. The pilot and the crew were interned, but the aircraft was undamaged. Who brought it back, sir? That's G2's little secret. We lose one every now and then that way, but fortunately, this one found its way home. Okay, Lieutenant. Let's go home. Make a gentle landing. We need it.
Too bad old Frank was sick today. We'd have seen his brother make a couple of landings to be proud of.
After 6.5 hours practice, the guy should be great. Come on, we're late for chow. Let's go over to my office.
O'Clock High will continue after station identification.